Been wanting to visit with this gentleman. Very excited about him joining the San Diego State coaching staff. We watched him be a nemesis of the Aztecs for the career he had at Air Force, winningest quarterback of all time at Air Force, going 20-3. Was the WAC Offensive Player of the Year in the 1998 season. Graduated from the academy in 1999, and we welcome new quarterback coach at San Diego State, Blane Morgan, to San Diego, as well as the mighty 1090. Blane, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, great having you on. Boy, it's going to be a little bit different. You went to Air Force. You've been there coaching the last 12 seasons, 7 as the offensive coordinator, and now you're coming to work with Rocky Long. You got to remember you're wearing red and black now.
Absolutely. I am. I actually like red and black a lot. I like that color scheme, but it's been a great week and a half. Adjusting and getting to know everybody. Everybody's been very welcoming, and I'm just excited to be here.
Hey, Blane, a lot of people are probably saying, well, why is Blane Morgan leaving Air Force, a place where he was a star, the winningest quarterback of all time? He's been coaching there. They've gone to bowl games 7 of the last 8 seasons, and he's a young coach who down the road may end up being a head coach somewhere, whether it be Air Force in the future or somewhere else. Why did this opportunity at San Diego State really get you to leave Air Force?
Well, the first thing is got to know Coach Horton. He and I are both Dallas-Fort Worth guys, so I've recruited Dallas for the last 8 years, and getting to know him on the road, man, just seemed like a super quality guy. And you look at his background and where he's been, just so much experience, and that was certainly appealing. I've played against Coach Long, going back to my playing days, and frankly, he's gotten probably the best of us here recently in recent memory. But going against his defense, it was something, being on the offensive side of the ball, that I want to be on his squad. That's something that was super appealing.
It's kind of interesting. I do Rocky's show, and I've done it, I guess the last 3 years. We've had the Aztecs on our radio station, and I do a show each and every week. And, we talked a little bit about the offense. We're going from a pro-style power run game type formation. We talked, about, there was rumors maybe they go to the spread. What kind of offense are we actually going to see out of the Aztecs, you think, this year?
That's a great question, actually. It's one of those things you get into spring, and you put in your base offense. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to learn the offense, get adjusted to how we want to coach the quarterbacks, and get those guys going, and really see who we have more than anything else. And I think the back half of spring and into the fall is kind of when you get a chance to really maybe diversify a little bit and see what else we can do. And a lot of that probably, depends on who we have as a trigger man.
Can we expect maybe a little more option in the Aztec attack? A guy like Quinn Kaler wasn't necessarily going to run the option. They ran it occasionally with him, but, he really wasn't suited to do that. Do you think with the group of quarterbacks we have right now, whoever wins that will have the athleticism to be able to run a little bit of option from time to time?
That's a gret question. We can talk here in about 2 months, and I'll be able to tell you a little bit more. Right now, I've seen the guys run around a little bit, but other than that, I'm just anxious, on Sunday to get on the field and really get an idea of who I have and their skill sets, and really just, learn with them, and teach them, try to teach them and as much as I can, and really grow these guys up.
Hey, we're visiting with Blane Morgan, the new quarterback coach at San Diego State. A great career on the field at Air Force, a great career off the field as a coach there the last 12 years. Hey, tell us a little bit about, after you graduated, tell us a little bit about what you did in the Air Force, because you did have to serve some time, correct?
Absolutely. When, my time in the Air Force, fortunately, I was able to be a graduate assistant the first year after I graduated. So I got a chance, with longtime Air Force coach Fisher DeBerry, to be on his staff, and really see if coaching the road that I wanted to go down. After that, I went into the Air Force as a personnel officer, which is kind of a human resources guy. And what I did in the Air Force is I went down to a pilot training base, and I was in charge of international students that were learning to fly. Japanese, Italian, from a lot of different countries, and really just took care of those guys. And so that was my job, year 2, through 4 in the Air Force, and then I got a chance to come back on Coach DeBerry's staff and coach as an active duty as a captain in the Air Force.
Did you ever think about staying in for a full 25 years or so?
I grew up. My dad is a longtime high school coach down in Texas, and so football has been in my blood. I've been a gym rat. I've been around the high school, the majority of growing up in my life. So played whichever sport was in season, and so I in the gym shooting baskets or whatever came along. So I was a gym rat, and football was in my blood. So I had a good feeling that I was gonna go down the coaching road.
What San Diego State getting in Blane Morgan? What's your strength, you feel, as a quarterback coach, and what do you feel you bring to this program?
What I'm gonna hopefully bring is just a daily consistency. I think that's what we're looking for in our quarterbacks. Just an everyday guy. He's gotta come to work and come to practice every day, and what they're gonna get is a guy that skill wise can really focus in and hopefully sharpen the skill set of these quarterbacks, whether it's play fakes or knowing where to go with the ball and being decisive, being great decision makers, and that's not something that just happens. And it's going to take every single practice leading up to the first game to really be ready to play. It really is. I mean, it's just not something that's going to happen. It's going to take working day after day.
Hey, Blane, I think a lot of people that maybe haven't seen Air Force play a whole lot the last couple of years, you guys had actually kind of opened that offense up a little bit. We're throwing a little bit more. You run the triple option. You guys also run a little bit of flex bone too.
We do. We were here the last few years a lot more. Actually, probably the last 8 years, a lot more pro. We had a lot of pro-style elements to our offense. The triple was just really a small portion of what we did. It was just kind of a mixer for us. So people don't realize that. But we were in the eye, we were in the gun. I thought we were pretty efficient throwing the football. I thought our quarterback had a really wide variety of skills they had to kind of sharpen and learn. And hopefully that'll carry over coming here into San Diego.
You had some pretty good quarterbacks that you work with there. Sean Carney, if I recall, Tim Jefferson. I know that one year he kind of hurt an ankle, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, those two guys, pretty talented guys.
Yes, sir. Those two guys, you look at a guy like Tim Jefferson, where he, won 28 games as a starter. That's the most in Academy history. And you look at a guy like, Kel Pearson, who this year got to start for 1 year and, at Air Force, got a chance to win 10 games. So that's not something that's very easy to do in the Mountain West Conference.
Hey, Blane Morgan, our guest here on the Mighty 1090, new quarterback coach at San Diego State. Hey, give me a good Fisher DeBerry story. I used to interview Coach DeBerry every year, the week the Aztecs were playing Air Force, and boy, he was always a great interview.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a guy that's going to entertain you now. He's going to tell. He's got more stories and more one-liners than you can imagine. And so you get a chance. If you're around him, I was around him as a coach for, 5 or 6 years, as a player for 4 years. And, the one thing that really pops into my head is he had this one line. He said, you see ya. And you kind of got to get into his accent when you do it.
Uh-huh.
He's from the South. So, if you see a turtle sitting on a fence post, he didn't get there by himself. And that was kind of his. If you ask any players that played for him, they'll probably give you that line.
Oh, that's good stuff. Hey, what was he like? Like when you'd come over in the fourth quarter in a tight ball game, tight situation, down in distance, maybe a third or a fourth down, you guys are, either tied or maybe behind by a couple of points. What was he like on the sidelines when you come over during a timeout?
He was actually in the game pretty cool, calm, and collected. I mean, he would get animated, and just like every other coach that's a competitor, get animated with the officials. But when it was really the nitty gritty down to the wire time, he was pretty calm and collected, and he listened more than he really talked. To his players, to his quarterbacks, and then to his coordinators.
Good stuff. Hey, Blane, welcome to you and the wife and the children, and hope many successful years out there with Rocky Long and the Aztec football program.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate you having me on.
Take care, Blane.
Have a great night.
There you go. Blane Morgan, the new quarterback coach at San Diego State.